things, I think I'd like to ask, if you could exist in a fictional world of your choice, what would it be? Some good examples are Harry Potter, SpongeBob SquarePants, and many other things. Fictional worlds, Lord of the Rings, Narnia. Take your pick. I'll start things off, I guess. For me, it's got to be Harry Potter, isn't it? It's got to be, drinking butterbeer down in, what's it called? Hogsmeade.
It's a little bit depressing when Voldemort comes along, though, isn't it? Well,
the thing is, if you could encapsulate the atmosphere of the first film, it's an absolute,
So we're picking
pleasure,
and choosing. We're picking and choosing.
Yeah, picking and choosing.
Perfect ideologies.
Yeah. Go on, who's next?
Monsters, Inc.
Monsters, Inc.? Lovely. You'd definitely be Randall, wouldn't you?
Who would you be, mate? Who would you be?
Randall, I reckon. Oh, not Mikey,
yes.
mate.
Mike Wazowski.
Mike Wazowski.
Sento?
I choose Star Wars myself.
Star Wars.
The universe. Yeah,
it's like the leather one that Carl's got, isn't it? The one that the leather's coming.
By the way, we're all laughing because he's showing an ET plushie.
With a really weird looking little rib cage. So yeah, good answers. Anything else to add?
No, that's it. I mean, travel around the stars, isn't it? Yeah.
I'd like to clarify I'm on the scaring side of Monsters, Inc. I'm not the child in the bed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I mean,
sure.
I would say, I would say you're Randall.
Randall.
What would you say, Sento?
I think Randall does fit in. To be honest, Randall does fit in. Or the guy. Oh, who's the guy that always blows the code for the there's always monsters. There's always monster that gets like some toy or whatever on him, and he always blows the alarm and they come over.
The big fluffy one.
Yeah,
he gets a sock
the other
on
one, the one that calls the alarm. You're that guy.
Oh, right. I mean, I don't mind being Randall. Randall's always number 2. It's a bit like Tottenham, innit?
Yeah,
never quite there. Never quite there.
Well. Welcome to the Pixel Players Podcast, episode 9. It is currently November the 7th. It's a Monday evening, about 7:10. It's pretty much rained all day. And yeah, this is hosted by myself, George, or at Fevenova NFT on Twitter.
Sento or Ratpinat _ on Twitter.
Sam or Skipper NFT on Twitter.
We've got a lot to talk about today. But first, I guess we should just quickly explain what Pixel Players is. And we are an NFT-based project, a base or a platform for Web3 football fans across the world to come and meet, chat, and basically join us on this journey as we continue to build out the brand that is Pixel Players. To find older episodes of our podcast, there's 8 other episodes. The last one we did was based on crypto, NFTs, and Web3, sort of as an introduction, if you will. So if you want to fancy learning a bit more about that or clarifying a few things you might be confused about, don't forget you can ask us questions in the comments, get in touch with us on Twitter. Descriptions will explain where you can find us and get in touch. But what are we discussing today? I guess we've had a ferocious weekend of football across Europe, from the Premier League with Chelsea, Tottenham and Man United all losing, to the Roma derby as Lazio beat Roma, to the Liga, where Valencia disappointed Sento once again.
Yet again.
Starting with the Premier League, I guess, though, because what a weekend of football. Although me and Sam are on the losing side, I must say a lot went on. So where do we start? I mean, we could start with a massive Super Sunday with Chelsea taking on Arsenal and Spurs hosting Liverpool, but I think to not necessarily get out of the way, but just to quickly put some context to things, I think maybe we'll start on Saturday. A horrible day in terms of weather across the UK. Again, rained all weekend. But the talking point was probably Man City and Erling Haaland and his last-minute winner against Fulham. It was 1-1 right up until sort of the injury time. Penalty that Man City were awarded after Kevin De Bruyne was taken down in the penalty area. Brighton beat Wolves away from home to get De Zerbi his second win following their 4-1 victory over Chelsea and Graham Potter last weekend. An embarrassing moment for myself. Glad I didn't have to go and see that one. My family lived down in Brighton, so yeah, I had a bit of slack for that on the weekend when I went down, just gone. But Everton lost at home to a rejuvenated Leicester. Another wonder goal from Yuri Tillemans, actually pretty identical to the one he scored a couple of weeks ago against Fulham. Quick, before it was on the sort of half bounce, I think, wasn't it? And he kneed it, and then bosh, top corner, crossbar and in. I don't think any goalkeeper's getting to that, to be honest.
As clean as you like.
Yeah.
Lovely. Leeds beat Bournemouth 4-3 with a winning goal from Crescencio Somerville in the 85th minute, and Jesse
3-1
March
down.
3-1 down as well. And Bournemouth 2 weekends in a row going ahead and throwing it away.
Oh,
Jesse March getting a response from his players before heading into the World Cup break, and Nottingham Forest drawing 2-2 at home to Brentford, giving the Bees an equaliser through an own goal from Zanka in the 96th minute. It was heartbreaking for Nottingham Forest. I guess what I would quickly want to discuss following talking about Saturday, not only was Saturday a day full of exciting results, and I saw a few people, including Jackmate, sort of commenting on the fact that the 3 p.m. blackout maybe should be abolished, because the games on the 3 p.m., I think it was 3 or 4 games, all of them looked, tantalising. And it's quite annoying to be sat there and not being able to watch any. But they do say, for some reason, and I'm not sure now's the right time for us to go into it, because we've got a lot to talk about. But if the 3 p.m. blackout was abolished, non-league clubs would struggle to get a crowd. Now, I'm not sure if that would happen, but that's kind of the gist of why they don't tend to televise 3 p.m. games. But yeah, Forest throwing it away. But what I want to talk about, despite the football, is talking about clubs like Leicester, Leicester to an extent, Leeds, Bournemouth, Forest. Will they benefit from, they probably will benefit from this 5-week World Cup break that's coming up after this weekend, won't they? Because at least half the squad won't be going away. So they've got 5 weeks to go on holiday. We even heard Mikel Arteta in his post-match interview yesterday for Arsenal saying that he will be on a beach. So, there's a massive opportunity here for players who aren't going to the World Cup to really kick back and relax after playing half of the fixtures. For those players, they're basically getting a taste of what it's like to play in Germany, where they have a winter break. So it's quite interesting to see how the bigger clubs like your Tottenham, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man United, Man City will be affected by a lot of their first team, playing for these clubs in the nations in the World Cup. And the other teams perhaps having a team who have had a bit of time relaxing, spending it with the family, a nice Christmas, basically. What do you think?
It's needed. I really think it's needed, because at least in the Premier League, there's been loads of games recently. Loads of games between Conference League, Europa League, Champions, and then again the Premier League. Have you played any FA Cup?
No, not yet. That starts in January. Carabao
Okay.
Cup tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow and Wednesday, or is it just Wednesday? But Carabao Cup this week, and FA Cup normally starts in January.
Yeah.
And the recovery of the Queen's funeral.
Yes.
We're trying to catch up from that as well.
Massive. There's been a lot of games, so you need a rest for that.
Yeah.
At least.
I think a lot of clubs are going to do like training camps in Dubai as well, aren't they?
They are. Yeah, they're going to be taking teams away and stuff. Yeah.
Yes, that can be good. That can be good.
Not for us though. Not for Tottenham or Chelsea.
No.
Valencia is going to be playing some friendlies during the World Cup.
Yeah, I can imagine
players that remain.
Most clubs. Yeah. Well, it's going to be a crazy season. The amount
we're
don't
sending
know.
5 or 6. Yeah, we're sending 5 or 6 players away. So why not?
Yeah, but we don't know what players are going to come back injured. We don't know what signings are going to happen in January. This season's a really strange one.
Also, there are World Cups where individual players become world-class superstars.
Yeah.
I mean,
And there's a January market straight after it.
yeah, spot on. And I mean,
Yeah.
some of them could also show what they're worth, get snapped up.
I'm really excited. I
As
mean,
well.
I was having a conversation with Sento, I think yesterday, after just discussing the Chelsea game. We're talking about what players Chelsea might want to be bringing in, and we're looking at some sort of young strikers that we aren't perhaps aware of. But I'm very looking forward to the World Cup in that sense, where you see young players that you haven't heard of, and they really burst onto the scene. I'm thinking of James Rodriguez was quite established in Liga for Monaco, but when he burst on the scene in the 2014 World Cup for Colombia.
That was the name that came to my head as well.
Yeah, and got pinched up by Real Madrid, and same for Özil in 2010. He got pinched up by Real Madrid as well. Funny enough. But yeah, these players, that come into the World Cup, and they really sort of throw down a marker about what they're capable of doing and stuff on the big stage. So yeah,
and you need that because there's not a lot of options out there. I mean, there are very good options out there, but the thing is that they've just moved recently, or they're not going to move at all for the time being.
Yeah.
So, Haaland just moved. He's not going to move again. Isaac too, like stuff like that.
Yeah. Very interesting.
You don't think that someone could tempt Isaac?
I don't think so. I think he's barely got started at Newcastle. Don't you think?
I think you can tempt him if you give him a big contract, but still, they put it for what was it, like 70 million?
Yeah, big money. It was big money.
Yeah, that's the thing. So they're gonna ask for big money if you want.
Yeah.
And he's gonna ask for a big contract too. So it's not worth it right now.
But the thing is, when these big clubs come knocking, like Real Madrid come knocking at the door at Newcastle, how as a player do you mentally get over that if you're not allowed to go, or how do you reject them? Because it's a childhood dream. Let's be honest. You dream of playing. Well, I assume when you're getting into the football scene, starting to play for the bigger clubs when you're younger, you dream of playing for the biggest of the biggest clubs.
Yeah, on the biggest of stages.
On the biggest of stages, yeah.
Well, hopefully someday we'll bring a footballer over here that can answer you that question. Why not?
Hopefully one day.
Yeah.
I mean, as well in terms of the World Cup, this is a bit of a broader question actually, but this is the last World Cup for Messi and Ronaldo, and it's then begging the question of who's going to be next, because I'm worried we're not going to see anything like Messi again, because he sort of follows in the footsteps of Maradona, his compatriot, but in the fact of natural talent and what he was capable of doing was like magical, and we haven't really seen a young player who is going to take that mantle. So I'm just wondering whether there's someone out there who is going to be at this World Cup, might just surprise a few people.
Jude Bellingham.
Maybe.
I don't think it's going to be at that level, mate.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's Messi level. I'd love to think so, but
still you have to give it some time.
For the next Messi to be English, can you imagine?
Messi's and Maradona's doesn't pop up out of...
No, once every lifetime, isn't it? It's Maradona was our parents' lifetime. Messi was kind of the one in between. Well, you could say ours and but I'm just worried. I'm worried we're not going to get another player as good as that.
I'm sure there's going to be another Maradona or another Messi or something at some point. Could have been 5 years, could have been 20, could have been 50, who knows? But
people must have been saying this after Pele and Maradona.
Yeah.
We're never going to see Pele again. We're never going to see Maradona again.
And Messi burst on the scene,
Yeah, Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo pop up.
Yeah. That Lionel Messi, when he used to wear, I can't remember, was that number? Was it like 29? I can't remember what number it was. It wasn't number 10. He used to wear another number, 30. I think it was 30.
30. That was Leo Messi used to.
Yeah, the very start of his Barcelona career. With the long hair and the way it used to sway. Oh, to go back to those days. Oh, lovely. Anyway, maybe just before we move on to Super Sunday in the Premier League. The Man City game, I personally will say I was very happy with them getting a last-minute winner, because I don't really want Arsenal winning the league.
It's a good win as well. Cancelo red card.
Yeah, red card.
26th minute.
Yeah,
That's a
Fulham
long
are no
time.
pushovers this season.
No.
They've proven to be quite a solid team. So a good win for City. This weekend, the rain was non-stop.
Yeah.
So to win on a day like that, a miserable day, is a positive for any team. But I was just thinking, that's going to really deflate Arsenal ahead of the Sunday game, and I was really thinking, maybe it'll give us a good chance of sort of taking it to them. But I guess we'll swiftly move on to Super Sunday, straight into Chelsea Arsenal. 1-0 Arsenal. Arsenal, really positive start. The first 5-10 minutes, you could tell straight away, like they were doing passes that were cutting through our midfield, and they were getting straight to our back four with ease.
Yeah.
And there, 1 minute the ball was with the goalkeeper, Ramsdale, and within seconds you'd have Saka running at Cucurella, or Martinelli running at Azpilicueta. And the moving in transition from defence to attack from Arsenal was impressive. I was actually impressed with Arsenal and the way they controlled the tempo of the game. They slowed it down. They sped it up. There was a moment they were like playing triangles, one-touch triangles on the edge of their box, to quickly break and counter-attack on us in the first half, I think it was. And it was quite impressive. I don't think Arsenal are like as good as City. I think Chelsea were really poor yesterday. I think Potter probably got it wrong. Cucurella had a good first half, but a poor second half. Azpilicueta, I think, couldn't cope with the pace of Martinelli. The midfield pivot of Jorginho and Loftus-Cheek didn't work. And I think it just started to show or highlight, places in the team perhaps where Potter and co and the backroom staff from Burley what his name is, Todd Bowley, should be looking to improve in January and maybe in the summer. Well, definitely in the summer, maybe in January.
It was a bit dull, wasn't it?
Very dull,
very dull.
Flat from Chelsea. As flat of a performance from Chelsea as I've seen in a long time. And I just think it highlighted problems in the team, players that probably should move on, who aren't dynamic enough for the way Potter wants to play football. And if you look at how the Chelsea midfield linked the attack to their defence, or defence to attack, or midfield to attack, compared to how Arsenal's midfield links to their attack and how quick it was in transition, it was just night and day. So I think Arsenal deserved to win. I was also annoyed. But if anything, I just want to be almost sort of, relaxed in the comfort of knowing that we're going to make the right decisions when January comes around in terms of the transfer market, players to move on and players to bring in. Because I think the last transfer market in the summer with Koulibaly, Sterling, Cucurella, Fofana, who's been injured. Now, not all of them have been problems. Aubameyang as well. But I think it wasn't as good a transfer window as it originally looked. So I'm hoping to see a difference moving forward. I don't want to see us splashing 60 million on fullbacks. And likewise for other positions, 70 million on wingers. I want to see us, scouting in leagues, seeing players that are hungry, and that's what Arsenal have done. And that's what I've come away from. I've come away thinking, we need to sort of take a leaf out of whether we like it or not, Sam. We need to take a leaf out of Arsenal's book. To have gone to Brazil and got Martinelli from the second division for whatever 5 million or whatever it was, and look at him now.
Clip it.
I think we need to take a leaf out of their book. So I'm praising Arsenal. I'm hoping Chelsea will improve. Now, I'm personally, as a Chelsea fan, really much looking forward to this World Cup break now. Bring on international football. We've got Newcastle next week, Man City on Wednesday. Shitting myself. I wish we could stop now and play the international football. I will take those games on in January, because at the moment we aren't playing that well. But for Arsenal, I think Arsenal are going to be quite disappointed that their momentum is going to be shafted by this World Cup 5-week break.
Absolutely. But this is the 4th Premier League game in a row that Chelsea haven't won.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
We've really slipped down the table.
Yeah. Well, firstly, very disappointing game from Chelsea, that Chelsea Arsenal. And secondly, Arsenal did really well, in my opinion. They control a well-deserved win. They control the game, the entire game, even though they didn't have the possession all the time. But even though when they didn't have the ball, they still controlled the game. They were so well positioned.
Yeah.
Chelsea couldn't break through.
Chelsea didn't test
They
the
were-
keeper at all. Didn't
Yeah,
have a shot.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. And Chelsea desperately needs this winter World Cup.
Yeah.
Little break because I don't know, something's going on over there, and I think something with morale or something. I don't know. The group is just not united. That's the feeling I
Yeah,
have.
that's exactly, you're spot on. I think you don't get a sense of team spirit at the moment, and I think it might be disappointment of the unluckiness of losing Reece James and Ben Chilwell and N'Golo. Like, if you think about it, N'Golo Kante, Ben Chilwell, Reece James, an unfit Mateo Kovacic, Koulibaly's unfit, Fofana. That's 6 players who would probably be in our starting lineup. So that's half the team pretty much out at the moment. So yeah, this Winter World Cup couldn't come soon enough for Chelsea, and I'm really worried about going to St James's Park next Saturday evening, 4:30 or 5:30 kickoff, I think, Saturday. So the Geordies are going to be well up for that. They'll have the bellies out. They'll have had the beers in. It's going to be on fire in St James's Park, and I'm really expecting to take an L there. I'm not expecting to come away with anything, to be honest. So I'll probably be happy with a point, which is pretty embarrassing to say. But I think you've got to take injuries into account. Anything else on Chelsea before we move on?
So I think one of the biggest factors of Chelsea is the transfer window and the purchases you made, right? So if we go back to when Tottenham sold Gareth Bale and we went on a bit of a spending spree, we bought Soldado, Eric Lamela.
Yeah.
We bought who's the other one?
Kirikesh.
There were loads.
Yeah, Kirikesh. Who else?
I just had one in my head.
Midfielder. Did you get Dembele as well? Dembele was one of the good ones, was he?
We spent loads, right? And afterwards there were only 1 or 2 who were worthwhile.
Yeah.
Out of everyone we bought, and
I mean, Soldado was banging him in for Valencia, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. When he left, I think he scored like 27 goals or something like that last season. It's pretty good numbers.
Yeah.
But it's like Aubameyang. I don't know if Aubameyang can do anything.
I really want him to move on next summer. 1 year,
Really?
fine, but I think it was a 1-year deal, so let's move him on.
You don't want him to stay. You don't want to grow him.
No, I want to move on. I want to get a young player in. I think Nkunku's been the name that's been sort of mentioned quite heavily amongst Chelsea. But then again, we need to get a creative player. And I was saying to Sento again last night, the things I do for a Cesc Fabregas now, a player who can defend, attack, pass, tackle, create, score. Yeah,
but again, you're asking for one of a kind.
Yeah. But that's just the thing. Havertz is meant to be our generational talent, but I'm afraid to say he's been severely underperforming. Now, whether he's nervous for the World Cup and trying to stay fit, which you can't blame him for, I don't know.
Yeah.
But let's just get this World Cup out of the way, I think.
Yeah. We'll be in a completely different light.
Yeah. Just quickly before we do move on from Chelsea, it was nice to see Graham Potter have a slight altercation with Mikel Arteta on the touchline. I think it was over Saka diving. As Graham Potter is quite a level-headed guy, and you rarely see any sort of faceted passion from him. He's pretty much the complete opposite of like your N'Golo Kante. I was talking about Antonio Conte, not Kante. He's the complete opposite to Conte. Quite similar to Ten Hag, actually. Ten Hag's quite reserved on the touchline. Again, the opposite to Arteta. Arteta is fast becoming one of my most disliked, or the most disliked manager in the Premier League, because he's practically on the pitch for half of the game shouting.
It works. I think he's learned it from Pep.
Yes, it does. Because I was saying that the way there's a passage of play that happened sort of along the touchline near the technical area, and Cucurella was sort of receiving the ball right on the touchline, and Arteta ran straight up behind Cucurella, screamed some instructions throughout the forward, but it must have been right behind his head, so it's going to put you off. Someone screaming, and he's doing it on purpose. He's doing my head in. I cannot wait for
Was he
Arsenal's
not like
demise.
that before, though?
I think he was, but I think he's learning. I think if you probably go back to the start of his Arsenal career, he probably sat down a lot more.
Okay.
But now he's pretty much stood up for the entire game. So yeah, quite annoying. But good evening.
Good
Welcome
evening.
back.
Good evening.
Welcome back, Unai Emery. I actually think what a great appointment for Aston Villa. Villa 3, Man United 1.
He already did a good job the last game, though, when Graham Potter left. They won
Good.
3-0.
No, that wasn't him. I think this was his first game.
No, I know. I mean Villa.
Villa. Oh, yeah.
itself.
A good,
Yeah,
they
without-
had a good reaction, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
A good reaction to Gerrard getting sacked, yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
great result to beat United 3-1 on Emery's first game, isn't it?
Gerrard
yeah.
gets sacked. He wins Aston Villa win 4-0 against Brentford. Then
Oh, I
they
thought it
lose
was
4-0
3-0.
against Newcastle.
Yeah.
And then they win 3-1 against Man
completely
United.
forgot about the Newcastle game.
Yeah. Sort of brief hiatus. But,
Yeah.
and now they brought it back. But 2-0, 11 minutes.
Yeah. What a free kick from Luca Digne as well.
What a free kick.
And a good finish from Leon Bailey to get the first goal. And when I don't know if you did watch the game at home or whatever, when Bailey scored that first goal, Villa Park erupted. The fans were well up for that. I think the fans have got a new lease of life under Unai Emery now. They've got something to get behind. He's a good, a manager. He's a manager with a lot of experience. 4 Europa Leagues he's won.
Even more so after that win.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be ecstatic if you go into Villa Park next game.
Yeah. And Villa deserved it, despite Man United having a few chances.
And they've got Man United again at Old Trafford, don't they, in a few days?
Oh, what, in the cup?
In the League Cup, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
fantastic.
so Man United 100% on the back foot.
Yes, that's great. That's great. I didn't know that. Tempted to what? I mean, I'm not sure when that one is, but if I had to say something about the game, Lisandro Martinez he's a good defender, and he's actually proved many wrong. A lot of people were sort of throwing a digs at him for his height. The Premier League's a very physical league, but talk about being physical. I'm not sure if you saw it, but he was throwing elbows into the chest of Leon Bailey when shielding the ball, which is definitely not allowed. Now, Leon Bailey took to Twitter about this and sent a tweet out saying he was disappointed with the referees and how he couldn't breathe. But I saw the sort of replay of it, and it was ridiculous. Martinez literally throwing elbows. You know how sort of players sort of trying to shield the ball? He was like backing into him, throwing elbows into his chest. Ridiculous. But yeah, a dent in United's top 4 hopes. And they'll be pretty annoyed because they could have capitalised on Chelsea losing to Arsenal. And in the game at the same time, Newcastle, who are also challenging for top 4 under Eddie Howe, a very informed Newcastle, piped Southampton 4-1 away from home. So Newcastle on fire. Chelsea next for them on Saturday evening, as we've previously mentioned. Almiron scored again. Miguel Almiron, what a season he's having. Unbelievable.
Yeah, again. Jesus. Yeah.
He is unbelievable. He is a new player this season. But Newcastle, unbeaten in their last 9.
Unreal. And they've got a solid defence as well. And what else as well is, like I was saying earlier in the podcast, Miguel Almiron, Paraguay, he's from Paraguay. They aren't at the World Cup. So, a great season he's having. He's now going to have a nice little holiday, sit on the beach for a bit, have a nice Christmas. Some of these players could come back with a, real sort of juiced up energy level. Because at the moment, the amount of, Newcastle sort of playing at quite a high level, and that might be because they're not playing in Europe. But the fact some players have got this massive break with no football, they're going to be full of energy, and bags of energy. And when they're playing, competing against, likes of Tottenham, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool for the top 4 positions, you've got to take Newcastle pretty seriously.
They're beating them as well.
Yeah, and like we'll probably see on Saturday evening, they are beating them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, Hassan Hüttl sacked. Hassan Hüttl sacked by Southampton.
That confirmed now.
Yeah, he's gone.
Oof.
Well,
That's-
I mean,
that's
that
rough.
was expected.
Yeah,
That was
apparently they were
expected.
going to wait for the World Cup break, but they couldn't wait no longer. So
Well, I think
I mean,
it's good
they're-
to do it now,
yeah,
Yeah.
get out of the way.
and then you prepare over the World
That's
Cup.
the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. They're in
Yeah.
relegation zone. I mean, it was expected.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
so next season, if we get a Southampton relegation and a Portsmouth promotion from League One,
Oh
we
yes.
could be back to the Pompey Southampton derby.
Oh yes.
Oh,
I've not thought about that.
And for those who are not aware of that derby, that's mine and George's local sort of rivalry, and it is ruthless.
What's strange about it is they seem to always avoid each other. So they've rarely played in the last sort of 30 years. Whenever one of the team, Southampton are doing really well, Portsmouth are getting relegated, and whether Portsmouth are doing really well, Southampton are getting relegated. So they always pass each other for one season in the same league, 2 games, and then one of them will go down or one will go up. So that'd be really interesting. To be honest, if I could have my own way, I'd probably keep Southampton in the Premier League this year, have Portsmouth get promoted next year, and have Portsmouth get back-to-back promotions straight back into the Premier League. So get the South Coast derby in the Premier League again, because that would be saucy, proper
Whack a
saucy.
tenner on that.
Oh mate, can you imagine it in the Premier? Oh mate, I really hope. If I could choose one fixture to have in the Premier League, it would probably be Southampton Portsmouth, because it's so feisty.
It's ruthless. I mean, Fratton Park is a different stadium as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very old school. Very old school. Talking about sort of rivalries, not quite to the same extent, but West Ham Palace, a London rivalry of sorts. A last-minute winner for Palace and Michael Elise. 2-1 Palace away at the London Stadium. And what a goal it was. He caressed it into the top corner. And he's quite a promising talent, actually, Michael Elise, alongside fellow player Eberechi Eze. I think Elise actually used to play for the Chelsea youth setup, so Chelsea will probably be quite disappointed that they've let him go. Because I think he looks quite a good. I think he's quite double-footed as well, Elise. So yeah, good player. But
Great win.
lest we sort of ponder on West Ham Palace any longer, 3 points for Palace. Spurs 1, Liverpool 2.
Well, going back to West Ham quickly though, just
As you would like to avoid it for a moment
ease
longer.
the demise a little bit.
Yeah.
West Ham currently sat at 15th.
Yeah.
They're only 2 points off the relegation zone, and I mean that is a complete contrast to where they want to be.
I think European football is having a time.
And where they were last year. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. They want to be competing for Europe.
Yeah, and they're
They-
definitely not
they
going to
wanna
be in
be
Europe
out
at
there.
this rate.
They don't want to be a second half team. So Tottenham fans can enjoy that one at least while we're struggling against Liverpool. Yeah, 2-1 Liverpool. Salah's 2 goals in the first half. I mean,
it killed you.
the first half was let's say boring.
If you're a Spurs fan.
If you're a Spurs fan, yeah. I mean, it was Liverpool. Eric Dyer, what is he doing? Concedes the second. If we were 1-0 down, then I think we could have come back. Even when we were 2-0 down, I mean, there was still sort of glimmers of hope.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't have been 2-0 down. I mean, Eric Dyer passing it back and Salah jumping on it. 2-0.
Misheading it.
No,
Yeah.
thank you. Anyway, move into the second half, and it's all Tottenham. And the first 20 minutes of the second half was the most frustrating 20 minutes of football I've witnessed in a long, long time. And it wasn't because Tottenham were playing, or Tottenham were being battered and Tottenham were being outplayed. It was just because Tottenham was so sloppy. Every second it was just passing the ball to Liverpool and Liverpool passing it back. It was ridiculous because there were opportunities there. It was like watching Sunday League football, and it was on a Sunday. And that happened, I think, after Tottenham hit the post. I think it was Perisic.
Yeah,
Perisic hit the crossbar.
And a crossbar, yeah, with cut back from Sessingham. Should have scored really.
So he hit the crossbar when he should have scored, and I think Tottenham got a little bit excited. got a little bit excited, and the game heated up a bit because I think Tottenham thought, there could be something here.
Yeah, and
it
a
heated
couple
up,
of comebacks.
Yeah,
In the last
and
week as well.
but it was just frustration. And then Harry Kane scored 2-1.
Yeah.
Could we get another one?
15 minutes left.
15 minutes left. I thought we were going to get another one. It never came. But I think in all honesty, it should have been a draw.
Really?
I genuinely think Tottenham's second half performance was warranted for a draw. The first half let us down there. Eric Dyer's header. So I mean, arguably, you deserve to lose because of that.
Yeah, he's lost you the game.
Do that if he didn't do
Gareth
that.
Southgate should be watching that like a hawk.
Yeah. You can't.
So it wasn't that interesting of a game then.
If you're a Liverpool fan, maybe.
If you're a neutral, maybe. If you're a Liverpool game, you walk away happy. If you're a neutral, you're like, oh, what's happening here? Conte yellow card.
Man, I was about to watch that game, but I was so pissed off. That day aligned really well for me football wise. I actually planned it out. It's like, okay, first is the Chelsea Arsenal game, finishes at 3 p.m. for me. Then Valencia starts at 4, finishes at 6 more or less, and then the Spurs one start like half an hour before the Valencia one finishes, something like that. But then it was the Spurs Liverpool. So I was gonna watch the 3 games straight, but it got so pissed off. Like, firstly, I watched the Chelsea Arsenal. Disappointment by Chelsea, very big disappointment by Chelsea.
Yeah, it was boring.
Yeah, and it was not that interesting.
No one wants. The thing is, at the moment, the way things are going with Arsenal, no one wants to watch a game where a team that should be putting up a decent fight against Arsenal are rolling over. Because it's infuriating, isn't it?
But also the goal. The goal.
It was a boring goal, yeah.
It was. What even happened? It's just, again, it was sloppy. That's what was the most frustrating thing.
I was expecting much more from that game,
much more action.
My routine, my agenda of the day, Sento, was I was quite surprised, to be honest with you. I thought Chelsea Arsenal was starting at 12:30. I'm not sure why. It usually happens on a Saturday then at 12:30. But
yeah.
So I put it on half hour early and realised that the game's already started. I'm like, okay. Whack the game on. That game finishes. Bit annoyed. Go play golf for an hour. Come back. Tottenham Liverpool. Happy days.
Well, until
I had a very similar thing, and that's the reason I was pissed off. Because firstly, it was that Chelsea Arsenal game. It was a disappointing of a game because I was expecting way more, and then it was the Real Sociedad Valencia, which started at 4. But those type of games always starts at 3:30. Always, it happened the same thing for me.
The half hour thing.
So. Yeah, but I didn't wait for half an hour. Like, when it was like 10, 11 minutes in, the notification of the goal, because it was the first goal was in the 10th minute. So it popped up. It's like, oh shit, we're playing. So that pissed me off because obviously I arrived late. Then disappointment by Valencia again. They got a red card on the 15th minute.
Oh, mate.
So we were one more man the entire game, pretty much. We equalized on the 25th minute, so we were 1-1 pretty much the entire game. Disappointment. After that, it was the Spurs Liverpool, and I was like, I can't. I can't watch more football.
It's just frustrating. It's like these clubs are top performers, and I mean, I guess you could argue so's the other team, and that's why they're defending it. But not when it's sloppy football. That's the frustrating bit. You should not be watching sloppy football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's what I watched.
If you want to go watch sloppy football, go watch West Ham.
Yeah,
the Sunday League, like you said, and it's actually funny to watch it.
Yeah. So I guess you talking about Valencia there, Sento, might be a good segue for us to quickly move on to the Liga.
All right.
Games for the weekend.
Before that, we should mention that Liverpool is
yes. Liverpool up for sale. Fenway Sports Group have listed Liverpool for sale and are encouraging bidders to submit for proposals to take over. So that's interesting. I see a lot of Liverpool fans sort of egging on Saudi takeovers, which is quite hypocritical.
Out of the blue too, right? Because I haven't heard anything myself.
I personally think it could have something to do with the fact they just know that the team needs so much investment.
So do you know what the valuation is?
Probably 4 billion, 5 billion, 6 billion.
Spot on. Well,
Chelsea sold for 4, didn't it? So
they've rejected a 3 billion bid in April 2021.
Yeah.
From a Middle East party.
Correct.
Peter Lim tried to buy it before buying Valencia back like 8 years ago. Oh, maybe a portion of it. I don't think it was the entire club. I think he wanted to buy like 40% or something like that.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. I'm sure that's going to be quite a long, rolling story. Should imagine it won't be sold for months. Not until next year, at least, probably. So keep you updated with that one. But I guess, should we get started with the Liga, Sento?
Yep, why not? Well, this week it has been some sort of like red card fiesta in La Liga. Also a lot of draws. Like it's been quite disappointing week, to be honest. Barcelona keeps winning 2-0 against Almeria. I don't know what the hell is going on with Barcelona, but they just keep winning and winning and winning in La Liga. But then Champions, what the hell is going on with Barcelona? What do you guys reckon?
I mean, they've still only conceded 4 goals this season. Is that right? In the league.
In La Liga. Let me check it out.
They've only conceded 4 goals.
4 goals. Yeah, you're right. 4 goals.
3 of them were against Real Madrid.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. But then
they don't perform in the Champions League.
No.
They're out already.
What do you reckon with the Europa League? The Europa League is obviously the reason why PK has probably had to hang his boots up, because he would probably have chosen to do it at the end of the season. But he's suddenly done it. It was, sort of halfway through. But Barcelona 2-0.
They've drawn Man United in the Europa League. Yeah,
we'll go through the European draws just before we leave you towards the end. Some cracking draws in there, so we won't forget that.
Europe. I mean, I don't know what the hell is going on. It kind of reminds me to PSG. I was going to say before.
Yeah.
Like they always perform very well in the league, but on European competitions they always flop. I'm not saying Barcelona usually reminds me to PSG. No, the current Barcelona.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, this one.
Barcelona only perform in Europe against Chelsea, don't they?
Well, well, actually, if we a quick tangent, I would say that Barcelona have probably got the most. If they had to choose an English club to not play, probably be Chelsea, because the battles that we had with them, I think we came out on top more than they did. And obviously the classic one was the 2-2 draw at the Nou Camp in 2012 before Chelsea won it in Munich. There are images of the Barcelona dressing room after that game, and you've got people like Lionel Messi with a towel over his head, mopping his tears. So
he's gone fishing and he's caught bait.
I think Messi only scored against us like once, I think, because there's a long-standing sort of stat that he'd never scored against Chelsea after about 7 or 8 attempts.
Yeah,
he even missed a penalty in that game that we just spoke about there, the 2-2 draw. But I've been to Barcelona with both Sento and Sam, but with Sam we went to the Barcelona tour, didn't we? Saw some of Messi's Ballon d'Ors and boots and whatever.
Was that cool?
Very special stadium. You can kind of sense the how much history it's got and stuff.
It's huge.
I'd love to see a game.
Yeah. I want to see Camp Nou, because always on the images it looks huge.
I'd love to go to a game with a full stadium.
Yeah.
So
have you ever been, Sento? Have you been to
Camp Nou? Never been to Camp Nou. No, never.
Yeah.
But it looks amazing, to be honest. I must admit.
Well, Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, from Barcelona, we move on to our first draw. Atletico Madrid 1, Espanyol 1. Well, unlike Barcelona, they don't have luck in Champions. Well, even worse luck, actually.
Yeah, they're out.
Because they didn't even get into Europa League.
Yeah, and they're
They're
actually
completely
starting to
out.
say that a few, Carrasco's up for sale.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Jesus.
I think they're starting to say that a few players are available now. So
Oh, wow. Yeah, they probably need money.
I
because
think I
they-
saw Spurs being linked to Carrasco, if I'm not mistaken.
You know, do you remember a couple of days ago? Again, you and I were chatting about, and I was telling when they were knocked out of Champions and Europa League. I tell you, I'm actually happy for it. I mean,
Yeah.
not. I mean, not for Atletico losing itself, but because I'm sure they will need money, and that will mean Valencia will be able to, bargain a little bit for Samuel Lino. Because they didn't want to. Actually, 2 months ago, Valencia tried to meet Atletico and, meet up to talk about Lino, try and buy him this winter market or next summer or something like that. And they didn't even want to meet us at all. But now they approached us themselves. So who knows? I'm happy for that.
Yeah, have to wait and see.
Carpe diem.
Happy for that. But yeah, very bad luck on Champions and very bad luck on La Liga because they're drawing against Espanyol, who is not doing great, to be honest. 16th on the table, 1 point again away from relegation. So yeah, not very well for Athletic Madrid there. And the same as Valencia, they were in a very similar situation in where Espanyol got a red card on the 28th minute. So pretty much the entire game, one more up on Atletico Madrid, and they didn't manage to win. So a big disappointment, for Atletico Madrid.
Frustrating.
Very frustrating. And again, imagine that from being an Atletico Madrid fan. The other team, pretty much a relegation team right now. One less man playing defensive football, probably. Jesus, what a nightmare of a game!
I assume it was just all Atletico on the attack.
Yeah, he should have been, but knowing Simeone, they probably kept it 5-3-2, some shit like that.
So it was 67% possession Atletico Madrid, 27 goal attempts versus 6 from Espanyol.
Oh man, they've not been very clinical in it. Well, moving on. Real Sociedad Valencia 1-1 again, another draw. Very disappointing again with Valencia. Like I said, 15th minute red card for Real Sociedad, and we didn't manage to do anything. Well, we were all the time. We had the ball all the time. We had like a 70-something% possession, but again, I mean, we're just not scoring. I don't know what the hell is going on, man.
Valencia haven't won in their last 5 games either.
Yeah, I was gonna say just that, and Valencia
right.
has not won yet any of the last 5 games. 3 draws, 2 losses.
Oh,
What the hell? We have dropped back to the 11th position. We're not seeing. I mean, actually not this game, but the game before declarations from our coach Gattuso. They hired me to get 40 points. They never talked me about Europe, either conference, Europa League, or anything. And they want me to make players more valuable.
is that what he said? That's what Gattuso
That's what
said.
literally, those words you say. Yeah.
So if he gets 40 points, he's happy. That's what he's saying.
That's what they ask him of him, basically. 40 points. Not himself, but the club would be happy with that.
Right, so the club's criteria is 40 points. Don't worry about Champions League football. Don't worry about Europa.
40 points is not even conference, mate. Conference, 40 points, we're talking about 8th to 10th position, something like that.
Yeah.
Gee.
So mid-table, yeah. So they're asking us, the coach, for mid-table.
So where did hold on last season? 40
Oh, yeah.
points, 15th.
Yeah.
40 points would put you 15th
There we go.
last
Yeah.
season. That's rough.
Yeah. That's what they're asking.
Wow, it's a good thing Peter Lim's got some hopes, isn't it? Wow, it
Yeah.
sounds like he's a dreamer.
He kind of went back on those words this week because probably the club said, "Hey, you cannot say that, man." You know. But I mean, Gattuso always speaks his mind, and he said it. And I'm sure, I'm 100% sure that what he said is that the club asked him 40 points, no Europe, more money for our players. That's it. Yeah, like that doesn't sound good for the future.
Doesn't sound good for Valencia, no.
Yeah. And well, moving on from that, we're going to a very big saucy derby, derby, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, derby. Yeah, derby.
Yeah, derby. In La Liga, which is the Sevilla derby. The Real Betis against Sevilla. Another draw, yet again, that's what I said. This is the draws week and the red cards. Because in this game, there has been 2 red cards. One for each team. One for Real Betis, one for Sevilla. 1-1 was the score, if I didn't mention it. Yeah, I mean, pretty uneventful for Real Betis, actually, because their goal was a non-goal for Jesus Navas. So, yeah, not a very good game for them.
Yeah.
And moving on from that, the last game is a Rayo Vallecano against Real Madrid. Pretty important game for Real Madrid because right now they've lost the first position with the Barcelona-Almeria win for Barcelona. So they need to win this to go back to the rightful place, hopefully, because I don't want Barcelona to win this game, mate. I don't want Barcelona to win this. I hate both teams, to be honest. I must be honest.
We've got an Arsenal Man City at the top, basically, is what's happening.
Yeah, basically.
Barcelona win, and then Real Madrid. It's up to them to come back on top.
Literally, that's what's going on right now. A tug of war between Barcelona and Real Madrid. So yeah, this is pretty important game for them, which is going to start in 2 minutes right now. Yeah, it hasn't started. It's going to start in 2 minutes.
Wow.
And that's all from La Liga. All the interesting. Actually, no. Well, all the interesting. Let's say I'm going to mention. Very good for Villa with Emery, but really bad for
Villarreal. Their Spanish cousins, Villarreal.
Yeah, they've lost 2-0 at home against Mallorca. So yeah, not going very well.
Isn't
for
it
them,
funny? Isn't it funny that Emery has managed Sevilla, Villarreal, and Villa,
and Valencia.
and Valencia? We'll chuck the V in there. It works.
Yeah.
It works. Yeah.
Works.
But yeah, that's all for the Liga. So I guess we'll move on to what happened in Italy over the weekend. There was a few quite juicy games in Serie A this week. You had Juventus taking on Inter Milan in Turin, and the Roma derby, which is always a spicy one. Perhaps one of the spiciest in Europe, actually. I wouldn't fancy going to it myself because you always hear of sort of blade-wielding ultras down back alleys and stuff. So, yeah, I wouldn't fancy going to that one myself.
Sounds interesting, though. It would be nice just renting a flat and living the game out of from the flat's balcony, like just checking out what's going on.
Yes.
I've heard it's a bit like Portsmouth, Southampton.
Yes, I'd liken it to that as well. I would liken it to that.
Why not? On Sportsmouth, go up this Spinnaker Tower, just check it out up there.
But yeah, 1-0 for Lazio in that one. So Jose Mourinho's Roma not happy at all. The fans will be upset losing to their local rivals at home, although they do share the same stadium, which is quite funny. And Juventus sort of, struggling throughout Europe and in the league, but they managed to beat Inter Milan 2-0 at home, which is a great result for them after quite a rocky period leading up to the World Cup.
They really need it.
They need to sort of leave off the World Cup Italy aren't even in the World Cup, so for Italians, this is for Italian Juventus fans, it's been a shocking sort of period.
Yeah, Italy is definitely going to have a little rest up from football.
Yeah, they are.
This winter.
Yeah, 2 weeks game left. Two game weeks left in Serie A. 1 game week taking place this midweek, and the final one before the World Cup break happening on the weekend. Now to the Bundesliga, which has been quite exciting leading up to this point, with Union Berlin sitting top of the table for a period, Freiburg knocking around along the top with obviously Bayern and Dortmund. But yeah, Bayer Leverkusen piping Union Berlin 5-0.
Yeah, I was going to say Union Berlin stayed up top up until now.
Yeah.
Actually, they've just gone to third position?
Yeah.
After this massive loss, actually, 5-0. Jesus.
Yeah. Quite a significant loss against Xabi Alonso is the manager of Bayer Leverkusen as well, by the way. Which is his first managing job. So 5-0 for Xabi Alonso. Quite exciting to see how his managerial career pans out.
Big team also.
Good team, yeah. Good team, yeah. Callum Hudson-Odoi is there on loan.
They're not doing well, though.
Yeah.
They're not doing well.
I think I don't think he's been in that long. I don't think he's been there since the start of the season.
He's coming halfway.
I think so, yeah. But yeah, Freiburg, second position, 27 points, 1 point behind Bayern Munich, who sit top after beating Hertha Berlin 3-2 away from home. Union Berlin dropping down to third position after obviously being battered by Leverkusen, and Dortmund sitting in fourth position with 25 points, 3 points off the top from Bayern, sandwiched by Freiburg and Union Berlin. Dortmund beat Bochum 3-0. 2 games left as well for Bundesliga clubs before the World Cup break. One this midweek and one on the weekend, just like Syria.
A very interesting top 4 in the Bundesliga.
Very close. With 3 points.
With Freiburg, very close, and 2 teams that usually you don't see up there, like Freiburg and Union Berlin.
Yeah.
Fighting for the title. So very interesting.
Yeah, exciting. France, Ligue 1. Marseille beat Lyon 1-0, and PSG beat Lorient 2-1 away from home. I dropped that one in there just because I saw a clip of Neymar on the weekend, and some of the skills he was doing was spellbinding, gliding past defenders and sitting opponents down on their bums. You're doing step overs. Lovely. Nice to see. Warming up for the World Cup. Yeah, exactly. And just on that topic, actually, as we're sort of talking about Neymar and the World Cup, I just on Twitter and I saw that Brazil have just announced their World Cup squad already. And I'm not going to lie, I think they could be good contenders for the World Cup. If I just run through a few names here, Alisson and Edison, goalkeepers, Danilo, Dani Alves, Alexandro, Alex Telles, Thiago Silva, Marquinhos, Bremer, Casemiro, Fabinho, Bruno Guimaraes, Fred, Paqueta, Neymar, Vinicius Jr., Gabriel Jesus, Anthony, Rafinha, Richarlison, Martinelli, Rodrigo, and Pedro. Quite a strong team.
Yeah.
So,
can they string it together, though? That's going to be the hardest challenge.
Interesting to see, yeah. Interesting to see. But yeah, maybe we've covered all of the sort of main leagues of Europe. Quickly, I guess, before we leave you for this week, should we cover the Champions League and Europa League draw?
Yeah, why not?
Some very exciting
stuff
games
happening over there. Yeah.
Yeah. So they took place this morning. Normally they take place about a week or a week and a half before Christmas, but obviously because of the World Cup, they've moved it to now. The Champions League group stages and Europa League group stages were concluded last week. So we had the draw this morning. RB Leipzig drawn against Man City, Bruges against Benfica, Liverpool, Real Madrid, which is a replay of the final, and I think the tastiest of the lot, if not PSG Bayern Munich.
Liverpool Real Madrid is definitely going to be
Liverpool Real Madrid 100%. I mean, that's going to be a feisty one.
Liverpool want to get back for the final. 2-5 they've lost against Real Madrid.
There's very interesting ones though, like AC Milan and Spurs. I think
that's
a big one. Dortmund, Chelsea. Dortmund, Chelsea. I think it's a good one.
Dortmund, Chelsea. Pretty good.
Yeah, like you said, Bellingham. A great chance.
Great chance for Todd Boehly to get on that plane over to Dortmund, shake a few German hands, slip a few checks into a few pockets, and secure Bellingham for summer 2023. Inter Milan, Porto, and Frankfurt Napoli are the Champions League games that were drawn this morning. And in the Europa League, we had the game we were all wishing for: Barcelona, Man United, Juventus against Nantes, not Nantes, but it sounds.
Xavi's actually complaining because they're saying they have no luck on the draws.
Unbelievable. Sporting Lisbon against Midtjylland, Shakhtar Donetsk against Rennes, Ajax against Union Berlin, Leverkusen against Monaco, Sevilla against PSV, and finally Salzburg against Roma. So some good games in Europe. Very exciting.
Champions League knockout stages always are exciting.
I'm
What
really.
about the conference? What's going on around conference?
We'll leave the conference.
Read
We'll leave
us
the
out.
conference. Shall we leave it, or should we just have a look?
I mean, let's see if there's any interesting games upcoming. There should be something.
Let's have a look. Okay, so you got Anderlecht, Ludogorets, Ghent, Karabag, Dnipro, Lekana, Lech Poznan against Bodo Glimt, CFR Cluj against Lazio, Fiorentina Braga, Partizan Belgrade, Sheriff Tiraspol, FC Basel, Trabzonspor. So nothing.
Fiorentina Braga is actually the most interesting.
Yeah, probably.
Braga is a pretty decent Portuguese side.
yeah.
And Fiorentina too. So
that's the European draws for you there. Anything else to say? I think we've pretty much covered it all for this week. If you, again, missed out on the intro, if you skipped forward or fast forward, check out our last episode, episode 8. That is not centered around football, although we couldn't help but mention it. It's actually focusing on an introduction, sort of explaining crypto, NFTs, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Web3 to sort of your grandma. So have a listen to that if you fancy it. I think that's all we want to cover, boys, is it? Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Nothing comes to my mind.
A big game of football coming up this weekend.
We've only got a few more games and then we got World Cup, right? Doesn't feel like we haven't got the World Cup need just yet, but
Sam has just reminded me. Non-league footballer or service station. I have actually got one.
Oh, yes.
I have actually got one. I just forgot to say. So, episode 2, I guess, or not episode 2, take 2 of
round 2
of non-league footballer or British service station. Now, the way this one works is I'm going to give you a name, and you're going to tell me whether you think it's a name of a non-league footballer or a British service station. Okay?
All right.
So, the name this week, which I'm going to ask you if it is a non-league footballer or a British service station, is Fremantle. Fremantle. Okay?
Fremantle.
Oh, I can't see Fremantle being a service station.
I can't see it being a player. What the hell, man? Like, you're probably gonna get it right again. You're gonna get it wrong again.
That's got to be a little German wingback.
Little German wingback.
Fremantle.
Should I also send? I'm just going to send in the chat how it's spelled. There you go. That's how it's spelled. Don't Google it. No Googling.
Okay.
Obviously, I can see why you might have thought German.
I imagined the FRIE, like Freiburg.
Yeah, I completely changed my view when you said that. But after seeing how it's spelled, no, I don't think that's a German word. yeah. It's definitely something of the sort.
So, should we answer this one this week, or should we save this one for next week? I think save it. I think leave the people waiting this week on Fremantle.
Okay.
Fremantle service station or non-league footballer.
So the way it's spelled, I'm actually not going to say how it's spelled because people might go googling. I want some replies for this one. I'm going to clip this up and tweet it. So
okay, let's just give them a hint. The way it's spelled doesn't hint that it's German at all. I mean, it doesn't look German.
Yeah.
The way it's spelled.
It's spelled in a very British manner.
Yes.
Is the non-league club English? Are we using English
Yes.
non-league clubs? Okay.
Yes, I mean we'll work our way through the British service stations, and then we'll move over to French, German, Belgium, Spanish
But they're going to be
Alright.
yeah, okay.
from their own nations. Yeah, so
Yeah.
this is only sort
Alright.
of British. So Fremantle's the name, non-league footballer or service station is the game. Let us know what you think on that one. I think that's it again. Is it? I think that's it for this week.
Oh, good. See you next week.
Yeah, it's been a lovely episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, tweet Sento at @ratpanat_, tweet Sam at SkipperNFT, or tweet myself at Feathernover NFT. All the description below will carry all the information you will need. See you again next week.
Ta-ra.
Bye-bye.
Gorgeous George, Sexy Samuel, and Sensual Sento.